Hi everyone. I want to appreciate the organizing team or committee of the PyCon Nigeria 2025. Please let's give them a round of applause. They have done excellently well. I'm sorry I might not be displaying my slides. It's so unfortunate. Um, and today we'll be looking at educational equity, Python for neurodiverse learner. I don't know if any one of us has heard or has come across any neurodiverse learner. Okay, thank you. A lot of us have actually come across them, but we might not know what or who they really are. So today we'll just be looking at the outline of educational equity using Python as an equalizer. And when we think of coding, most times what do we think of? We think of solving problems, we think of the algorithm, we think of the data. But also, we know that in its heart, Python is an expression. It's a language that gives or that allows people to create and share their ideas. So, and we would see that today I want us to look at Python as a solution to help neurodiverse learners. Every child has a potential to do excellently well. But imagine yourself in a classroom with different people, just the same way we hire, different faces, different people. Then how do we learn at the same pace? Let's understand that not every student learns at the same way. Some are dyslexic, some have ADHD, that's attention deficits, hyperactivity disorder, some are autistic, and some even process and learn in ways that we are not fully yet to understand. We have not really learned how they learn. So this is to help us show how Python can profile solutions and also how it can create inclusive spaces for diverse learners, neurodiverse learners, not just where they get by, but also where they thrive. Now, education as it has been passed down to us traditionally, it's a one size fits all. When Jetemi was addressing us this morning, he said he went to a school where they pronounce chair as chair. I hope we all understand that. Where they pronounce chair as chair. And then in this kind of environment, the teacher comes, downpours, and expects that every child grasps at the same pace. And it is now, education has gone beyond that. Neurodiversity recognizes that our brains are wired differently. So whether it is dyslexia, whether it is ADHD, whether it is autism or autistic, or whether it is even some cognitive variations that we have not really understood, Python can help us narrow down these things. It can help as an equalizer. Now, in this traditional classroom, we would see that teaching is very heavy. Even the reading of text is very heavy. And even the exams that we write, they are standardized. But the human brain is not standardized. We all have different variations. And this is to show how the human brain can process and also adapt information. So how can we use Python as an equalizer? Python has three superpowers that makes it very suitable for neurodiverse learners. First, it is very readable. You don't need to start adding semicolons or complex syntax. Once you print hello world, you already know exactly what's going on. So this clarity is good for children or learners who can't deal with having too much or holding too much rules in their brains. For dyslexic learners, in case some of us don't really know what it entails, they can't read heavy text. So when you have the word bird, B-A-I-R-D, the B is looking like D, then the D is looking like B. And so they find it difficult to pronounce those words. But we have, in one way or the other, while we were growing up, had one of or two of them in our classrooms. And then we tag them what name? Olodo. But it's not. It's just their cognitive differences. So these differences are not deficiencies, but they are just ways that we process information. There are ways we learn. And so Python can serve as an equalizer. So when we use Python, because of its readability, it's very easy to read, then these children can do excellently well.
Is there a way you can share the slide so that it can help you project
I
it?
honestly, I don't know.
WhatsApp is on your laptop if you can send it through WhatsApp.
I even gave them the slide in flash drive. I
Just
don't
the
know.
flash drive.
It's with one of them. I don't know, one lady wearing white and black stripes. So sorry that I can't display my slides. And then the second superpower of Python is that it gives instant feedback. So when you type a line of code, you run, immediately you see the output. This is very good for people or learners who suffer from ADHD. These people are attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So they can't maintain focus for too long, max 10 minutes. Outside that, they can't maintain focus. So when they run in, so this kind of people want something engaging, something that keeps changing all the time. So for Python, you enter your line of code, it runs, immediately it brings another, it gives you an output, you enter another line of code. So this is how we can engage this type of learners. And thirdly, Python has rich visualization, and this is for autistic learners. Autistic learners, they can thrive well with pattern recognition. They can easily recognize pattern, but they cannot thrive when you want them to do group learning. So this is why Python serves as an equalizer. And so how do we make these approaches for inclusive education? First, we deliver, or you make sure that your teachings or your lessons are broken down into digestible steps for them. So don't go taking 1 hour lecture. Just do it simply, something engaging. Use of visuals and interactivity. And we have Jupyter notebooks that can help with, immediately you run your code, they can easily go back to revisit that lesson. So it's not something that you must do at that point, just to engage this learner. At one point in our lives, we have one way or the other shown any of these cognitive variations, but we might not really know because of where we had this part of the world. So these are strategies that we can use for neurodiverse learners. For ADHD learners, gamified projects work for them. Look for, make their projects into games. This will engage them, and this will also make them keep focus, because their challenge is that they cannot maintain focus. Then for autistic learners, you can use the visualization, Matplotlib. This will work for them as it shows data, and most of them are visual thinkers. Autistic learners are visual thinkers. So when you project or you use Matplotlib for them, from Matplotlib to Seaborn for them, they can easily excel. And then for dyslexic learners, you can use Tortu visuals or Tortu graphics. So where you have star, STAR, that they can't read, you can teach them how to actually code it and then use programming. The star will appear. And so rather than reading and stressing how to read star, once they see this picture, they can easily tell you that it's a star. Now, what are the Python tools that we can use? Yes, we can use speech-to-text tools for them. So this will help those who struggle with typing to bring their ideas into life. Also, we can use libraries like Totu, Matplotlib, Seaborn for visual learning, that's for autistic learners, and also Jupyter Notebook for the third one, which is dyslexic learner. So now I want us to go to the call to action. Educators. I don't know if we have any educator here. I would ask you that when you are teaching or you are involved with this kind of learners, I want you to ask yourself, how well are you accommodating other brains? We have dyslexic learners, we have autistic learners, and we also have attention disorder learners. So how well are you presenting what you are teaching, and how well will it empower other brains? Also, as a developer, ask yourself, the tools that you are building, the tools that you are building, are you making it accessible to help better front support? Are you making voice recognition accessible? And also, are you making visual feedback?
Just want to get the name of your educational and creative.
Yes. And then as a community, let's share inclusive practices. Let's share resources. And let's make inclusion not a side project, but a part of the Python culture. So I want us to leave with this note that when we design for the margins, we include everyone. In our traditional classrooms, that neurodiverse learners are most times sidelined. They are most times marginalized. They don't really care about them. They just tag them the name Olodo, slow learner, or what have you. They really sideline them, and then they cannot thrive. There is no Olodo anywhere. It's just that we have not discovered exactly where they are good at. And so I want us to know that when we design for the margins, we include everyone. We make coding accessible for everyone. And when we make it accessible for everyone, we are not lowering the bars, but we are raising the floor for everyone. So I'll charge us with this, that Python has always been about simplicity, it has always been about readability, and it has always been about community. So let's extend that spirit into how we teach and support the next generation of coders. And so with that, I will say thank you. Please, if you have any question, please answer. Okay.
Thank you. That was a very precise